Hi, hello everyone. Welcome. I'm Amina McCulloch, and I'm here with Mr. Norman Traversy, and this is our part 3 interview. We've done 2 already, and such a pleasure to have you back on the show. We want to really just get right into it, and we're here talking about Norman's privately prosecuting Justin Trudeau, and we're going to discuss a little bit what that means, what exactly he's prosecuting against him, and also the march that's coming up for July 1st, which is this coming Wednesday. And I say a march, and you'll understand why when we explain that. Please take a look at part 1, part 2 of our interview on my channel, Amina M on YouTube, and it will help you to understand a little bit more. Today we're going to get a little more detailed into why we're prosecuting Justin Trudeau. So thank you, welcome, nice to see you, Norman. How are you doing?
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're speaking from Ottawa, from the capital, nation's capital, and I'm here in the Thousand Islands on a houseboat, working diligently from here, but I hope to see you soon next week in Ottawa for the march on July 1st. And let's just talk about this. What are you doing? You're prosecuting Justin Trudeau. So
yeah, I filed a private prosecution last August.
Yep.
As is my right under Section 507 of the Criminal Code of Canada, and also under the Magna Carta, which
Correct.
states, goes back to 1318, I believe, and it states that no one is above the law, not the king, queen, prime minister, no one. The law has to apply to everyone, or it applies to no one. And Trudeau seems to think he's above the law, and so do several government agencies. I've been told in writing that he is above the law. And I've also been told in writing by the Canadian Human Rights Commission, I think her name is Lori, the woman that signed the article, and they stated that the Charter of Rights and Freedoms does not apply in the Ontario judicial system. How's that?
interesting.
Well, it's more than interesting, isn't it?
It doesn't sound
yeah, because I did complain to them. Now, I filed the private prosecution. For those of you who don't know, I filed it last August. I had a hearing in September. They said pre-uncut hearing, that's where they see if I'm valid or not, if my evidence is any good, and it can get thrown out there, it can get stayed there, or it can proceed from there. And they said, oh, the judge is sick. Today, at considerable expense, I had a witness brought in and put him up in a hotel. And they only had one judge at the Ottawa courthouse, apparently, and he was sick. So then they put it off until October. And then it was October the 7th. We showed up a half hour early. Once again, I brought this person in. I had other witnesses, and they locked me out. They held the hearing behind a closed door, and it took them 5 minutes, and they stayed it for lack of evidence. And I was standing outside that locked door, knocking quite a bit, continually. And I had a crate of evidence, and I had a witness who was going to testify under oath. And it took them 5 minutes to stay the matter for lack of evidence. That is obstruction of justice. That's a crime under the criminal code. So I am going to be charging the judge and the Crown Attorney with obstruction of justice. I'm also going to be filing a Ontario human rights complaint against the Attorney General and against the judge and against the Crown Attorney, and because that was unlawfully stayed. They unlawfully stayed that matter, and it was obvious because it was less than a month before the federal election. I've gone to Elections Canada and said it was rigging the election by locking me out. They don't care. I've gone to the federal court. They said they have no jurisdiction over the Ontario Court of Justice. Where else have I gone? I've gone everywhere. I've gone to the police. I've gone to the RCMP. I said, you know, I have a right to justice. I have a right to access the justice system. So this isn't going away. After I'm finished with this march and presenting this letter, this brief to the American Embassy, I am then going to file the criminal charges, and I am going to get this matter reopened. And I think a lot of things have changed in the past 6 months. And I think people are ready to get rid of this clown.
And when you say prosecute, what are you prosecuting Justin Trudeau for exactly?
I'm prosecuting him for obstruction of justice and conspiracy to obstruct justice in the SNC-Lavalin matter. SNC-Lavalin is a huge it's a huge Canadian, primarily Quebec construction company. They were bribing people, specifically the Gaddafi sons from Libya. They bought them a yacht. They were when they came to visit in Montreal, they provided them with prostitutes and everything else. They spent almost $2 million on these guys. And that's against Canadian law. And that's also human trafficking, which is, you know, that's a crime against humanity to do that.
Yeah.
So the ethics commissioner investigated Justin interfering in this matter and stated that he had violated ethics laws. Never mind the obstruction of justice. So that and 5 attorney generals and ex-premier wrote and said that in their considered opinion, Justin had obstructed justice and should be, you know, held to account. So I guess I'm the only one that will prosecute him. It would be pretty good if there were hundreds of people prosecuting him. I will make the rewritten and redone private prosecution available on your site, Amina. And anyone who wants to copy what I've done and put their name on it and go to your local courthouse can do it.
Okay.
It's their right under the law. And I think it would be, and if you have enough people do this, then it becomes a class action suit. And it won't just be me. And once it becomes a class action suit, lawyers get involved or can be assigned as well.
Right.
And I think Canada's had enough of this guy. We'll get rid of him and get him in jail.
I would agree. There's a lot going on right now in the world and with our country, and it's against human rights. You touched on that. We've talked about that. I think too, you know, you know, perhaps at the march, you know, we're going to see a lot of people. I've heard a lot of feedback from our other interviews and comments. There's been many comments. We have 45, you know, 7,000 views. I know it's over 300,000 views on another channel, on Ron Balin's channel. And that's if, you know, even if the numbers are true. If the numbers aren't true, they're higher than that. So there's going to be quite a few people showing up on July 1st, and a good opportunity to reach out to Norm or anybody who is involved this way if you want to prosecute and help with that cause, or you know, help with the full prosecution. Norm is doing this for all Canadians, representing everybody in the country. For, you know, that's the idea, right? I mean, it's not just for you. So
no, it's not.
No, it's not. And you talked about the human trafficking. That's, you know, I won't get too deep into it on our show, but there's so much, you know, the rabbit hole goes much deeper behind that, and with all of this going on this planet, there's so much that that really is about way more than what we see that's behind the scenes that's going on. And it is all about our human rights. And, you know, I'm a believer of, I'm born, like you said, you know, in one of the interviews, we're born with our human right, and they want us to hand it over. That's how I see things unfolding right now, is hand over your human rights to me. Well, and making us passive during all of this quarantine and COVID situation, it is making us as a whole very passive individuals. And if you're awake enough, you'll understand what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, I want to ask you a question. I know we talked, and you mentioned of a woman who reached out to you. We won't mention names, we won't get into it too much, but she allegedly said something to you. And if you can just briefly respond to that, what she said, that would be great.
Yeah, I've said this before. I had a long chat with this woman and another woman. We spoke for a couple of hours, and when it was time for her to go and we were leaving, she leaned forward and said, "I wanted to tell this to you face to face." But she said, when people get high enough up in society, they often hire psychics. And I said, okay. And she said, Justin Trudeau hired a psychic 15 years ago. And the psychic told him that he was going to be taken down by a firefighter. I didn't know what to say. And she said, when I first saw you on a video, I thought you were a plant. I didn't think you were a real fireman. And I said, well, I am, or was. And she said, well, I said, does the fireman win? And she said, that's why I'm here. And I was completely spooked by that.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know who's going to call you, right? Or reach out to you.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
you're making a difference, and you're reaching many people. And there are those who want to have a voice and want to have something to say that's very relevant. You know, this didn't all, what you're doing isn't just happening. You know, there's people involved, and
Thousands
and victims, and I mean, we can go on about that. So did you want to add more about what she had to say?
I think I'll pass on that for now. But what she was talking about was not just SNC Lavalin. She didn't even talk about that, but she said the evil and the corruption in this country goes very deep, and it's intergenerational. It's been going on for generations. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the RCMP is part of it. And so are the other police forces. And we'll get to the bottom of that, but one thing at a time, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So then the march, that's July 1st.
Yes.
And what time are you starting? Can you talk more about the march?
We're going to congregate at Confederation Park, and that's right across the street from the Ottawa City Hall. It's a nice wooded park, mm-hmm. which is also a block away from the War Memorial and a couple of blocks from Parliament Hill. Mm-hmm. So we're going to go there, Confederation Park at 11. Or go before that if you want. We're hoping to have food trucks there. That would be nice. Nice. I'm not organizing this. Other people are, but the people that are organizing it are going to have a stage and a sound system, and the speeches will start at 11 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And I was told they'll go right through till 6 in the evening. Okay. And this is not a protest. It's a gathering and a march, but it's not a protest. Okay. So Maxime Bernier is going to be there. Several other well-known Canadians will be there. Of course, we'll be there. And at 12 o'clock, the plan is that we'll march to Parliament Hill, or march up Parliament Hill, sing O Canada in front of the Confederation flame, and then march, I think it's about 4 blocks down the hill to the American Embassy. And I've contacted the FBI. They are requesting a copy of the document that we'll be delivering, and we're hoping to have that done this afternoon, completed. And it will be uploaded. Of course, you'll have a copy, and physically handed over to whoever's in authority at that embassy. And I told the FBI agent that we need someone, not just a security guard, someone to come out and take this document. And the document, it's got a cover letter, and I'll read that letter in Confederation Park. And after that, it's the brief has got 3 sections. The first section concerns child trafficking and slavery in Canada, because we do have slavery in Canada still. It just goes by a different name. It goes by the name of Children's Aid Society. Right. And yeah, so that's the most important one. And that's one that, you know, President Trump has made it his top priority. So that'll get their attention. We're also going to send it to President Trump and his sons and his daughter the day before, a couple of days before. And you have
connections to get that to him, correct?
Pardon me?
You have connections to get that document to him.
Yes, I do. I can get it on his desk, you know, within 10 minutes. And, you know, if it concerns child trafficking, and it's children from the US as well, it concerns. So that's the first part. The second part is about Trudeau and the SNC Lavalin matter, and how we don't have the rule of law. I mean, if they can lock me out of a courtroom for a scheduled hearing and hold the hearing behind a locked door, we don't have law in this country. We have laws for some people. You know, I know they're chasing a guy that made a phone call to a judge, and they called that what was it, an attempt to interfere with the judicial proceeding. So how dare you call a judge?
Right.
Even though he was at work, and it was during working hours, and it was a very cordial, polite call. So they'll go all out for that, right? And the third part is concerning the workplace safety boards across Canada, and how they're actually an affinity fraud, AFFINITY. It's an affinity fraud whereby you force someone to purchase a service that you don't provide. So employers are forced to buy workplace safety insurance. They don't have a choice. When you go to buy car insurance, you've got a choice in what kind of insurance you buy and who you buy it from. Not in the case of workman's compensation. You have no choice.
Sounds like socialism, a little bit of communism here.
Yeah, and the thing is that these workman's compensation boards are amassing tens of billions in surpluses. Now, these surpluses are then invested in the British Columbia Investment Management Corporation, which has over $1 trillion in assets, and the Ontario Investment Management Corporation. And then the money is hidden. It's spun off into shell companies, and one of them's called Quadrille, another one's called Granite. And these companies are openly traded on the American and Canadian stock exchanges. They made 14% on their multi-billion dollar scam last year. That's a lot of money.
A lot of money.
And, you know, we've notified the Securities Exchange Commission in Canada and in the US.
Mm-hmm.
And about a month ago, we got a phone call from someone at the Canadian Securities Exchange Commission.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't been contacted by anyone from there for 2 years. And he said it was too big for them to investigate. And he sounded frightened.
Right.
The Americans are continuing on with this. So this is, it's a big deal. It's open fraud, and it's fraud for money. You know, it's theft by conversion. And and it's also a hidden subsidy for Canadian businesses, you know, because they're not paying out on these workmen's compensation claims, and the businesses benefit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a scam, and we'll get the Americans looking at that too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the third part. And after that, we will have. I think the thing is about six and a half pages long. We're trying to keep it really short, and we will have hundreds of pages of supporting documentation, and we'll just keep dripping it out after that. And the Americans and the Mexicans are obliged under this USMCA treaty, Section 27.5. They are obliged to investigate corruption.
Yeah.
So we think we're going to get some results.
Well, I hope so, because I mean, isn't Mexico controlled by the cartel? I mean, they're larger than large, the cartel. So it's interesting times. Yeah. It's interesting that that you're linking all of them. But when you talk about the states, you are referring to Donald Trump, who's also, you know, he's also going after the same crimes that you're mentioning about human trafficking. Are you referring to Donald Trump when you keep saying the United States?
Yeah, actually the letter is written to him. It's addressed to him.
Right.
So, you know, it will be sent to the FBI and, of course, electronically to the embassy, whether they
Your
accept
letter
it.
is, yes, correct.
Yeah. And
okay.
We're not going to send it to the RCMP. I'm sure they'll get a copy,
okay.
But not going to deign to send it to them or to the government of Canada. Let them find out from the Americans.
Right. Okay. Wow, this is some heavy duty, larger than large scale things going on. And
yeah, you know, I think individuals don't realize what kind of power and authority they have.
Yeah, exactly.
And strength in numbers, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So
and I always
everybody
say,
fill out a private prosecution, and we'll post it. And so you can just copy mine word for word and just change the name.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we all have to exercise our human rights, but we also have to know when we're giving them away. And it's really important to ask questions. Keep asking questions. There's so much divide going on amongst the people, with so many different, you know, theories and rabbit holes. But keep asking questions. It's really important because there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and there always has been. So don't let that escape you, or don't dismiss it, because that won't do anything. That doesn't solve anything, and it's up to us. And that's how they want us to be, in a passive state of mind. And I mean, I can really say a lot more around that, but you know, it's almost like we're all under some kind of hypnosis, and you just keep doing what you're told. And there's no,
Yeah.
I know I ask many questions to people, and I'll say, have you ever thought of this or that? Or, you know, did you ever think about where this came from? And they don't, you know, they don't process the thinking enough. And I'm hoping they're starting to now, you know, because there is a lot going on. And there are plenty of people sitting at home for, for the last few months who are able to finally start asking and looking, but continue. Don't let that stop, because this has just begun. And it's definitely an information war, to say the least, that's going on at the moment. So it's just so important. It really is. I had to say
It
that.
is. Yeah.
Well, is there, okay, so anything else we'd like to add? We've covered what's the current issues at hand right now, but anything else you want to add? How about some websites? I know you have a GoFundMe account.
Yeah, we've got a website with a link to a GoFundMe, and the website is justiceforcanada.ca, justiceforcanada.ca. And we have a number of PDFs on there that you can download, and it keeps expanding all the time. And that is where 12 o'clock on July 1st, the document will be posted there.
Okay, and I'll put the link down below as well for any link.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, not a problem. Okay, and yeah, anything else, Norman, before we go?
I just hope it doesn't rain that day.
Nah, rain or shine, right?
That's right, rain or
Weather's
shine.
warm. I have to say, oh, your video camera just cut out. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, I just went into low power mode.
I'm in this beautiful Thousand Islands, and we've been in this little bay area for the past few days because it got very, very windy, but we've had spectacular weather. So let's just pray and ask for that weather to continue, especially for us on July 1st.
And I'm in a high rise in Ottawa.
Yes, you are. Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Norman. This has been wonderful. And we will see you July 1st.
Yes, thank you very much, Amina. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Goodbye.
Bye.